Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This month we're doing underrated films, so I picked the movie made in 1985 called Enemy Mine. We do Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 2, and we bring you movie news. This week we have Jonathan Charney and James Stevens, The Gruesome Twosome. So I said in the opening we're doing the movie Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. from Iron Eagle fame. And here's the description of the movie.
Iron Eagle fame.
A soldier from Earth crash lands on an alien world after sustaining battle damage. Eventually he encounters another survivor, but from the enemy species he was fighting, and they band together to survive. And the first thing I want to say about this movie, and I totally think it's true, it's like Robinson Crusoe mixed with The Odd Couple.
You know, I actually was kind of thinking of it's like the Star Trek episode you picked. Honestly,
I didn't really do that on purpose, but you're right.
About that? I mean, it was kind of interesting that you picked that one episode to go with this film.
I would love to say that I did that on purpose, but it was completely by accident. But
that's what it reminded me of.
I'll totally take credit.
You sure could.
I wish it was as good as that episode. I got to say, the one thing I actually agree, there was the reviewer, this movie came out in the 80s, that I actually thought was spot on this. Said it was this year's Dune. And pretty much what they're saying is, Dune the movie, amazing sets. And this had, for the 80s, an amazing set. The visual effects were amazing.
Yeah, for the 80s, definitely. How much did you say the budget was? $40 million?
The budget total was $40 million. What they had is they actually had another director. And I think they spent I think it was around $17 million, but I could be off. They spent a lot of money on doing a lot of initial filming, and they brought on the Wolfgang, who was the director, the finalized director, and he scrapped all the footage.
Oh wait, you mean the guy that did Das Boot?
Yeah, was that he the director that did Das Boot?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
So this film's kind of like on a hit list now.
At least there's no alien Nazis.
Die.
So I kind of describe this movie in two halves. For an hour and 48-minute movie, it's a little bit hard to do, but there's two halves in this movie, and I like everything up to the point where the asexual alien kind of gets pregnant. But I loved everything up to that. I even loved the blade.
Dennis Quaid winked at him.
Oh, I even loved
one-eyed and all.
Oh, jeez. Did you say the brown eye?
No, I said one eye.
Oh, sorry, hearing issues.
Oh my goodness!
I even love the Blade Runner-esque narration. And
it wasn't annoying actually. It was very few and far between that they actually had narration. I think there was only really a handful of times that Dennis Quaid, kind of did the narration, honestly.
And I thought I loved how they did in the beginning. Basically,
yeah, there was a lot more in the beginning. It was longer, I would say.
And I would say that was basically just to give you kind of a quick, here's what happened, boom, then story. Because when it first started, it literally dropped you in the middle of a space battle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of one of those moments you weren't exactly sure what the hell was going on. They're just fighting these guys, and Dennis Quaid, over his narration, kind of gives you a little bit of the history and why, but not really enough, to be honest. There wasn't enough backstory as to exactly what was going on.
Oh, no, not at all.
Strife and why they really hated these guys the way that they did, and so it's kind of a little bit of like overview. So we're in the fight with these guys that are the Drak, right?
Drak, yeah.
Drak.
The thing I thought was weird about it, and is they were telling how the humans kind of started this war.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of movies that I can remember where it's obviously the humans saying, you can't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know any movies that it basically says the human starts it? In all the Star Trek, it's not our fault. Star Wars, it's the Sith's fault.
Are we going with like fiction stuff?
Yeah, anything like this that's like the science fiction, even
Fahrenheit
drama.
9/11.
How?
Michael Moore, it's fiction.
Oh.
He says it's our fault, right?
Oh, wow, you're okay. Wow, that's
Did you not catch that?
Yeah, I no, I didn't. I thought you said Fahrenheit.
And then what's the other one?
Yeah.
The Inconvenient Truth.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get off that. But
I do wish.
different mind. I have more comments on that.
I do wish they borrowed, like, I don't know, the space.
I don't think there's really any.
This is the first one that...
Battlestar Galactica. I
Well,
think we started that fight with the Cylons, isn't it?
On the new series, I think it's our fault. If I remember correctly.
I don't remember if... Yeah,
on the
I know
original,
first...
on the original one, it's not.
Okay.
Because I could be wrong. I mean, I've actually seen the whole series original. I've seen bits and pieces of the new one.
I've only watched bits and pieces of that one, so I'm backwards on that, I guess.
But yeah, see, that's the first one. I don't know. The only thing I wish they did is I wish they borrowed like the space planes from Battlestar.
Yeah, the things that they had in this thing were kind of... I don't think they would actually move in space, honestly.
Maybe. I mean, they do.
I really don't think that they would move in space very well. I mean, not to the...
They do look like...
Not to the hairpin maneuvers that they were doing in the beginning of the film.
And they look like... some of the space planes that they used, or spaceships, or whatever you want to call it, they look like Star Wars rejects for like spaceships. It's like, how about this for the for this plane? No, here, give it to Louis Gossett Jr. And I actually like Louis Gossett Jr. I actually think he did the best acting in this movie.
He did pretty good. I mean, his facial expressions were amazing.
And the thing I did, I actually was reading about this movie. He did all the vocalizations.
Oh, cool.
None of that was actually done third party.
And how much of that on his face was prosthetic? Because that was actually pretty impressive.
Some of that had to be like, there's that thing on the side of his head that was going up and down. That was
and then
obviously prosthetic.
Did you see the things on the side of his mouth that were moving when he breathed? I was wondering how he was hitting that just right. And
I'm thinking that could have been, they had enough room where they could have put something in there, but that was little things in this movie that I actually really appreciated. This, because in the 80s, they not a lot of time they would have done, there wasn't a lot of time they would have added little extras like that.
Yeah.
Especially considering this is all practical effects, most of it.
Yeah, the one that really bothered me was, as you said, the asexual alien, and when oh gosh, what was the kid's name? Zumi, yeah, came out. Do you remember Dogma?
Yeah,
he looked like the shit demon. I mean, that was my only thought when he pulled it out. I'm like, oh.
I actually don't remember that scene. I'm going to have to pay attention.
And I mean, like, when he pulled it out, that's exactly what it looked like.
And there is... Oh, my God. And there are some actual famous people, especially for 80s. You've got Dennis Quaid. Louis Gossett Jr., mileage may vary about how popular he was in the 80s. Now, I thought he
was pretty popular in the 80s. I mean, for... some of the actors, I think he was one of the more standout actors of the 80s.
Okay. Because I know in the 90s, he still does a lot of stuff. But now I think mileage may vary whether he is popular or not. I mean, he's definitely still doing stuff. You had Byron James, who was actually in... Oh, excuse me. We just did it. Remember what it was called? Blade Runner?
Oh, yeah.
He does. He was Byron James was just in the movie we did, Blade Runner.
Oh yes, he was. I see.
So
okay.
So that's as far as it goes, as far as really famous actors. So even then, I think this was kind of, at least what I remember, kind of a bunch of no names.
Yeah, it really was kind of no name. But I mean, with 90% of the movie being between Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr., I mean, you don't really need any more characters in that. I mean, I was a little bit bummed that they kind of did a little bit of Jeremiah Johnson style with Dennis Quaid's character. Why didn't you let him grow his own facial hair? Anyways, but, it was one of those that's what it kind of reminded me of, survival of the thing. But one of the major things about this film that kind of bothered me was he says, that he got picked up by a surveillance team when he got shot by the guy left out in the middle of the area. So this surveillance team has been checking this moon kind of regularly, and how did they miss you?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even they could, reason it away that the slavers weren't there mining the area. No, the slaver ship was there already, blown up.
Yeah, but they were also he said earlier when he found the surveyor, like the surveyor markers, he was saying it was from the scavengers looking for raw minerals.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. Like, how do they miss him? Unless the only thing I could think of is, it's like the best place to hide is right in front of your face.
True. Maybe they were just staying away from the meteor shower side.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they were either in that weird looking shelter or in the cave. The problem is, how do they miss the guy that was walking around the whole time?
Exactly. And I mean, that was one of the things that is kind of like a big plot hole for me.
I didn't really think. I know that part honestly wasn't the most. To me, it wasn't the most negative part of it. Like, it's obviously a giant plot hole. It's probably the biggest plot hole in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there's not a lot of plot in this movie.
Yeah. Now, there really wasn't any twists and turns for this movie. It kind of telegraphed everything that's going to happen. I mean, even he's saying in the beginning, these slavers don't like the Drox. They will come and do this. And you're like, okay, well, that's going to come out to play later. The estrogen thing really hit that alien pretty hard, obviously. I mean, and you knew that alien was going to die, And then, he was going to become Daddy Quaid, I mean, you knew that was going to happen.
I mean, way to go, Mr. Mom.
And then the other thing, like, when they first get on the planet, because it's a secondary planet, right? It was one of the planets.
Yeah, it was second or third planet.
It wasn't a moon, it was a planet.
No, yeah.
Anyway, and you have the tentacle monster thing there, and it's like, okay, well, that's going to come back again. And what was up with the tentacle in the middle of the night? I mean, was that a scene from Super?
Oh, I was actually thinking that was the Sarlacc's cousin.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of, because it was kind of... That was a really weird plot device. I mean, because the only time he showed... The two times that the thing actually showed up involving Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. was the first one to show that Louis Gossett Jr.'s character kind of cared enough to rescue him.
Yeah.
And the second one was, vice versa. So it was just a plot device to show, these two people care about each other enough to rescue them when something happens. Like, they don't think about it. It's just a really weird way to do it.
Yeah, I also gotta say in the scene where he's laying about to be ejected out into space, that thing, and the guy tries to steal the necklace. I mean, they made that necklace a little stronger than most of the other necklaces that I've ever seen in movies. It's like, give me this thing.
Yeah, usually they just give
us like keek. I've always been like, that is a cheap necklace.
Yeah, that alien metal was amazing, man.
Yeah, that was another thing that kind of bothered me, is that they do it a lot in sci-fi films and TV shows where the aliens have a more peaceful religion than we do, but his religion still seemed like Islam to me. I mean, in the way that he was praying, and you know what I mean, and constantly studying it. And
a little bit.
It seemed a bit.
I didn't really. I wasn't really digging in that far. I was actually thinking it was kind of cool that they randomly gave him some sort of language, even invented some sort of writing. I thought was cool. Far as going deeper into it, I wasn't really focusing in on that. Even though I guess you should have, considering it was a main point of the character.
I mean, at the end he gets to become honorary Talmud or whatever they were trying to call the thing.
I guess so. I mean, I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I had another point. The lakes in this one. I mean, how much antifreeze did they go through?
Oh, by the way, apparently that was filmed at the same like pool that they filmed some of the model sets for Das Boot.
Oh, jeez. Well, recycle, right? That's a big thing in Hollywood. Recycle. Good job.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that kind of throws another wrench into the time frame of it is the thing that you really can't judge time on that planet the same way. So I was always trying to figure out, like, how long he was there, and it looked like he actually went through a full season, so a full year, because I mean, they start out without any snow and the meteor showers, and then it turns into snow, not so many meteor showers, things like that. I was kind of wondering, like, and then he threw in the fact that the little estrogen baby grows fast, so you don't, I mean, it looks like he's 5, 6 when he gets captured type thing, so you're not sure if that's 3 years, 2 years. I mean, you really can't judge it, but it's got to be at least a year that kid was alive. So he's been 2 years on this planet.
I thought they said 3.
Was it 3? I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, because the little salamander did grow really fast. Or was it more like a bearded
no,
dragon?
It's a shit demon.
I'll say bearded dragon.
Anyway. But, you know...
Because we get enough crap about shit you say.
What? It's not like I'm ever going to stop.
Point.
So, yeah, so that's something that kind of bothered me about the movie. I didn't hear a time frame. Did you actually say one?
There was the only point they said something was how he was gone like 3 years. At the point when he was back on the space station.
Say something on the space station.
They gave it that. Besides that, no, there really wasn't like any sort of recording of time. Like Jeremiah Johnson, they do it by change of seasons.
Yeah.
This one, the only reason why I think they did change of seasons was because it looked the same throughout. So they needed to change it up a little bit for plot devices. Okay. Like the reason why he was all like the big Drax, I don't remember his name, was actually, covered
Jerry.
up. Yeah. So
that's not really his name, but that's what Quaid called him.
That's the only thing I could think of because they didn't. You're right. They didn't really give any time.
Yeah.
Frame and apparently was it 3 seasons? Like was it 1 season? Is 3 years?
All right. So yeah, that was something that I kept on trying to figure out and trying to figure out how I could do a marker through the movie to see.
Yeah, there was really nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you want to account for like Dennis Quaid's beard.
Yeah, I mean, I could grow that something like 4 months.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I could think of where they would say that, or they would show that. So I give this movie, I gave it a 3 out of 5 when I saw it when I was a kid. I liked it. I still like it. It's missing a lot. I actually think they could have excluded kind of having a kid to really focus more on these two enemies, which I think it would have been a better story. I mean, it's an old story. I mean, it's been around forever. It just is a sci-fi twist to it. Overall, 3 out of 5. The acting wasn't all that great. Louis Gossett Jr. was the best actor in this movie just because he had to be an alien.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid, I think, kind of phoned it home a little bit.
Yeah, there were quite a few scenes that he did that in.
The Mickey Mouse thing was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious, but it's not true.
You insulted Mickey Mouse.
It's not true.
What do you give it?
I was going to give it a rating, but then I come to find out that this guy, it's the Das Boot director, so that's an automatic 0.5 removal for me, so it's a 1.5. I'm serious. I mean, that took a whole point off that this is that director.
From Das Boot.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give you any grace. But let me tell you this. That's a lot less of a deduction than I would give Scorsese or M. Night Shyamalan, Pop Ding Dong. Why
don't we just call him He Who Must Not Be Named? He's just faster to say.
I just like making fun of his name. Did you want to move over to the TV show?
Yes, we're gonna switch over the TV show. I picked the episode's called Darmok on season 5, episode 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
STNG for idiots.
One of the reasons I like this is because this is, to me, one of the more standout episodes, being the alien creatures didn't speak English or even non-sort of language.
They did speak a language.
It was an alliteration.
The thing about it was all the language that they used were references to their history and their past.
Yes.
So you had to actually have a basis of where it is. So they were using metaphors and analogies.
Yeah, it was
to say something.
It was a non-traditional language.
Yeah, I thought it was actually kind of a cool idea of something.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I picked it, because this is one of the ones as a kid that it just stood out to me as, whoa.
Darmok and Jod.
And my favorite part on this whole episode was the part when, by the way, spoiler, but if you're watching the show, you should know that by now, is the scene where the alien is injured and Picard is telling him the story.
Yeah.
That whole part around the fire.
Midian.
Yeah.
Right?
Something like that.
Anyway.
That whole part was my favorite. Always been. As a matter of fact, generally, if I watch an episode, I just fast forwarded that part. I loved that part of that movie because it shows that two people who are warring, just like in Enemy Mine, there's some commonality.
Yeah.
And Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. Was their survival meant they had to work together, and in this one it was more of a deeper understanding.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I wish the movie had been more like this episode. Because
that was a mouthful for you.
Yes. So what do you think, James?
I always did like this episode of Star Trek. This wasn't my favorite, but but it was in like the top 5 of one of those. Like you said, it stood out a lot to me, and the reason being is because the situation that they put themselves in, that I wouldn't say that Picard put himself in, but that they placed them in was so unique, and the way that they were using a stressful situation to basically do peace talks between each other and try to understand each other through a common goal, which was to survive and defeat this enemy. And I thought that was a really good way to do it. And I thought it was really well done in that fact. But at the end of the thing, I always wondered this one thing about Picard. Where the hell did he get all those real books? I mean, what did he do to get books, hardcover books, in a society that uses no currency?
He made them.
What did he have to do for them?
He told the computer, make me a book.
Yeah, but I've never seen anybody do that. And Picard was one of the few guys that always had books on hand.
Data made instruments.
That's a good point. But Data was a robot.
I think this is a little bit of a sidebar because
Yeah,
I think
it was.
one
of those things that I noticed in this one. I'm like,
I would say
because it does fit with the thing, because it was at the end and he's reading up on their own history and story to understand.
I would think Picard, because Picard is more of a classical character, as far as he appreciates things more. I mean, without getting too deep into it, I just think he just cares more about stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think by far in that situation of trying to communicate to one another, you see how good of an actor Picard is, because he does basically the whole Dennis Quaid thing in, less than an hour?
Oh, yeah. And I really do think Enemy Mine, which was more like this episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Give or take. Just to let you know, we do have a Facebook page. You love us, hate us, let us know. If you write us hate mail, we will read you on air. You just have to be a little bit more creative about it, please.
Yeah, YouTube critics.
And the other thing is, we now have a podcast. You can catch us on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, and more. So we're going to switch to movie news a little bit, and I'm actually really sad to say this. Legendary actor Mickey Rooney dies at 93 years old. By the way, that's a very good long life. He was 93 years old.
Yeah.
That I think that sucks. I wasn't a big fan of his, but a fan enough to actually be kind of bummed of the fact the guy had passed on.
He was a classic guy. He had skills.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is kind of a bummer news.
And on the other news that I'm actually surprised they're doing, considering in the 90s, especially late 90s, this particular character was banned from television. Speedy Gonzalez?
Idiots.
Speedy, the Looney Tunes character, is going to get his own movie, which surprises the living crap out of me. I wouldn't be surprised if the PC crowd protests does something, or they completely change the character. You can change a very one-dimensional cartoon.
I've known a lot of Mexicans from Mexico. And most of them that I know, they love Speedy Gonzalez. They were the ones always saying it to me, like, andale, arriba. It's like, whoa, hey, all right, cool, awesome, Speedy, So it's one of those. It's like, I don't know. I've never met a single Spanish or Mexican descendant person who's offended by him.
I'm with you.
Never made sense. Anyway, so I'm happy they're doing it, and I hope they follow through with it, and I hope they say to the critics.
And I'll be honest, I agree with James, and I hope it sticks close to the original character. I'm tired of adding on to, because it's stupid, honestly.
I just hope they don't do an origin story.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, too many jokes and not enough time. And to sandwich a good news by bad news, another death was character actor Jeffrey Lewis passed away. You know him because he was in films with Clint Eastwood, etc. Once you see him, you'll know about him. Just like
you recognize his face.
Yeah, just like Mickey Rooney.
He's got a very distinct face.
Yeah, just like Mickey Rooney, we say condolences to the family of losing a family member, and Hollywood for losing an actual really good actor that everybody knows but nobody remembers. And And say, and the other one, where we still have a few more time, is it says Doctor Strange picks a side in the Captain America Civil War. I don't know if I knew they were going to, but I was really hoping he wouldn't pick a side.
Yeah.
Mainly because he really is my favorite Strange character of Marvel. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, he's one of my favorites as well. I don't know how they'd pull all that together as him picking a side, but, it would be an interesting thing to throw in.
It would have to be for something, like, say, if the actual, I think, when does the new one? Civil War comes out soon, right? Is it this year?
I think it's 2017. But I know they have another one coming out in...
Because I'm hoping that because I don't remember when it's released. Because if Doctor Strange comes first,
2016, so yeah, it's coming out this year. Let me see if they actually have an actual.
So then it's probably going to be a summer blockbuster. Then I'm hoping it's for a reason.
Tuesday, May 5th. Wow.
I'm hoping it's a reason that
next month
that actually foreshadows the Doctor Strange, like some sort of mystical bad guy that's moving behind the scenes. Because otherwise, I think it's stupid. I really don't see why you would introduce a character that, by the way, his movie's not even out yet.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing hey, that's really neat. Michael Douglas is donating his entire film collection to the New York Museum.
Can I go through it first?
Right? Well, I think that's pretty cool for an actor, and I'm assuming it's old school films, probably ones that there's not a lot of actual negatives around type of thing.
Yeah, the Casablanca with the alternate ending.
Or the complete 12-hour version of Metropolis.
No.
So I don't know. I think that's really neat for an actor to actually do that, donate some of his personal prize collection.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I mean, I honestly wouldn't want to part with my collection, but to educate people, I'd let them watch it.
My assumption would be, and it's been a while since I read the article, honestly, that it wouldn't be just like, hey, I'm donating my collection of Reservoir Dogs. I would be assuming it was actual film.
Collection of Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of versions of it. Mr. Pink, Mr. Orange.
Mr. White. You would actually buy all of them if you could?
Maybe. I just want your copy, honestly. But you know what I mean. I'm assuming it's like maybe the old film styles. It could be celluloid, which is extremely explosive.
Say that 5 times fast.
I can barely say it once. And the other, why the hell would anybody want to do this? Sony's trying to resurrect everybody's favorite movie, Starman, which nobody remembers. I've seen it.
I don't even think I know of that one.
I've seen it.
Starman?
I've seen it, but I don't remember. I vaguely remember it.
I don't think I've seen it. It doesn't.
Oh no! Wow.
It doesn't jump out. In 1984.
Yeah. You don't.
No, I don't know this one. Thank God.
And we're doing a lot of movie news just because, well.
Oh, Charles Martin Smith there too. Wow. Alrighty.
Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first that I know about a film that he doesn't.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I didn't even know it existed.
So I dare you to watch it.
No. I might take you on that after you watch Cat People.
As long as it's not Willard. And the other one, it's like, okay, this is cool. Can they end the franchise? Charlize Theron is to star in Fast and Furious 8.
Yeah, I heard about that. And it's like, how I don't want to watch those cars again.
I liked the first couple of them.
Same thing. You like Tokyo Drift? What?
It was,
did I
it was
hear
okay.
That right? Huh?
I was honestly a bigger fan of Paul Walker than I was in anything else. And once he passed away,
he just hit it in the ashtray.
It's smoky in here. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed that they're making more. And so we have an announcement. Short film.
Yes.
We were asked to review a short film. And this film, it has not been
viewed outside of the circle.
So it's going to go into what do you call it?
Indie film.
The indie films and festivals. And so we've been asked, and we're going to be reviewing it next week. We haven't decided if we're going to do just a special episode or within next week's episode.
Yeah, we might do a long episode of of it.
So we're excited because this is the first time anybody's asked Real Flix Reviews to do that. And since obviously, if you've ever watched Real Flix Reviews, we've done a lot of short films.
Yeah.
A lot more than any that I'm aware of show like ours has done. And so I'm extremely honored that we were asked.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. I don't know the gentleman's name. Do you know his name?
If you give me a second, I can.
Okay. But we're very grateful to him to reaching out to us and saying, hey, can you take a look at this and give me your opinion?
Yeah,
I think that's a very awesome thing.
I was when he contacted us, I was flabbergasted. I mean, there's not a lot of things that honestly get me that excited, but I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. So I am really honored, and I want to thank you from the bottom of, our jaded movie reviewer hearts.
He's jaded. I'm not. I'm a nice person. What? I'm giving my honest opinion. Do you want me to lie? Do you want me to candy coat this shit?
Not really.
You can't bottle me.
So it's a gentleman. I actually don't know if he wants me to say his name or not, but it's a gentleman by the name of Paul Holbrook. He's the writer and director.
Yeah.
So we want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a privilege to be able to be on board with something like this.
Oh yeah,
We encourage young directors or even seasoned directors to step out of your comfort zone. Do something that is out there.
Yeah, and
put yourself out there is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I guess the benefit about doing a short, even if you're, like James said, a traditional filmmaker, old school director, or a student, is this gives a short format to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Like we did a short film, I think it was called Skins. It's actually going to become a TV show.
Yeah.
So you never know where it goes. Or like Frankenweenie was, it was a short done by,
Burton?
Yeah, Burton. It was a short done by Burton in film school, if I remember correctly, and it became a full length feature film like 20 years later.
Yeah, it actually got a lot of publicity, and I know a lot of people that have seen it. I haven't seen Frankenweenie though.
I haven't. I've seen the short film.
Yeah. So
you never know where this can go. So, as we've been said a couple of times, thank you.
Yeah.
And so if we do a separate episode, we're going to call it like, a Real Flix Review, special reviews or something like that. So it will be coming down the pike. So make sure you stay tuned to that. And next week is the second part of the Gruesome Twosomes pick. So batter up.
So I'm going to go with the Matchstick Men, made in 2003. And for the episode of television show that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be jumping back in time in the time machine to 1997, season 6 of The Simpsons. Episode 18, which is called A Star Is Burns.
I think I know what episode this might be.
So, I'm looking forward to that.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I go back real quick, the program I was on, I gave Enemy Mine a 3 out of 5. James gave it a 1.5 out of 5 because of the director. Ryan, hopefully...
I just booted you.
Oh, you're fired. Literally. Oh my God. Ryan gave it a since for some reason he decided to stay home. Hopefully.
But stay at work.
Hopefully sometime soon we'll actually know what he thinks about this movie.
I mean, people are dying to meet him.
Oh.
What?
Oh, you're grave robbing there.
Full batting.
Oh, shit. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching Real Flix Reviews, and as always, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.